Hello, everyone. My name is Lauren Grosha, and we are thrilled to welcome you today to Heroku's webinar, Create Data-Driven Customer Experiences on Heroku. And we have a lot of exciting things to talk about today, and just wanted to thank you for taking your time. We appreciate you joining us today, and we hope it's an informative session that can help you better understand how you can use Heroku to help your business grow. So thank you for being here. And also wanted to share a quick reminder, Salesforce is a publicly traded company. We're going to be talking about Heroku today, and this is just a reminder to make your decisions based on products that are publicly available or that are currently available today. And we have a few great speakers that are going to be joining us today. Just wanted to spend some time introducing ourselves. So my name is Lauren Grosha. I am based in Boston, Massachusetts, and I'm a product marketing manager on the Heroku team. I've been at Salesforce for a little over 2 years now, and in my role, I help share Heroku's story to help people better understand the impact that it will have on their business. And next, I'm going to be passing it over to my teammate, Tobias.
Thank you, Lauren. Hi, everyone. My name's Tobias. I manage the Heroku business in the UK and Ireland at Salesforce. So I'm speaking with customers every day about the benefits of Heroku and helping to build apps and services on Heroku. Really looking forward to talking to you today. Barry, over to you.
Thanks, Tobias. Hi, guys. My name is Barry Sheehan. I am the Chief Commercial Officer at ShowOff. We are a global Heroku partner, and I am based in Ireland. So apologies if I speak too fast. I'm going to try and slow down the dialect for those that are joining from an international audience.
Great. Thank you so much. So wanted to share with you what we are going to be talking about today. So Tobias is going to be kicking it off, talking about the difference between standardization, software purchases, and differentiation. And then we're going to go into more detail about what is Heroku. He'll be passing it over to Barry, who will be sharing customer case studies of customers that have partnered with ShowOff and the impact that they've seen. And then we're going to wrap it up with the Q&A. And so there is a chat feature at the bottom or a Q&A button at the bottom. And if you have any questions throughout the webinar, please feel free to type in your questions there, and we will address all questions in the Q&A at the end. So next, I will be passing it back to Tobias.
Thank you very much. So before we kind of really get into it, so you've seen the agenda for today. Really, I have 3 goals. I just want to go over them just again to make sure we're really, really clear. So my 3 goals today is firstly, make sure everyone's got at least a high-level understanding of Heroku at the end of this session. Not expected to be a developer or super technical necessarily, but understand what it is and what it's for. Secondly, it's taking you through a specific use case that we are working with a lot of businesses on at the moment in the space of data. And then the third one is really introducing you to ShowOff, making sure you're aware of who ShowOff are and some of the customers that they've helped in this space of solving data challenges with Heroku. So those are really my three things that I want to specifically talk about. Heroku is a platform to build, run, and manage applications on. So it's a platform as a service. And what you can build on that, as you can imagine, is almost infinite. So today we're really starting to narrow down on that topic of data, the very specific topic, which is really important in today's times. But why are we talking about data and what is the challenge that we see? So data really is the foundation of customer experience. If you think about when you call a service desk for maybe an airline or a bank or any kind of business that you interact with, there's a lot of expectations that you have of that business. So you expect them to know who you are, probably where you live or what your contact details are, what business you've done with them in the past, maybe if you have any complaints open, what might be appropriate things for you to buy, so recommendations and things like that. We have a lot of expectations of the businesses that we consume from at the moment. But a lot of the time when we call businesses like this, let's say we call an airline, And we want them to be able to know what tickets been booked, who we are, like I say, what kind of complaints may be open. But I'm sure you'll all kind of have experienced this in the past of jumping between screen to screen, the service desk person, and saying, well, I need to load this thing, or I need to hand you off to a different team because they've got the data in their system in a different system. And that's obviously really, really frustrating. So that's bad for the customer experience if it's like that. It's bad for the employee, so they're having to jump between systems. It's not a very good kind of experience for them. And of course, it's bad for business. And so why is it like this and how did it get like this? Well, one of the analogies that I like to give is around the world of personal tech versus the world of kind of technology and business. And so if you think about when you buy a new laptop, a new iPhone, something like that, you retire the old one. You either trade it in, you sell it, or it goes in a drawer and you just start using the new thing. In businesses, obviously, that's not the case. And with data, that's really, really apparent. So what we see is lots of disconnected and dispersed data sources that maybe aren't connected in the best way. Lots of reasons for this, things like mergers and acquisitions can really compound this problem as well. So you're bringing in someone else's technology to run. Or if you have very siloed teams and your teams don't necessarily speak to each other very often, one might have bought a data solution for one thing, the other one might need something and go and buy something completely different. Right? Of course, what this is going to lead to is if you have disjointed data, you're going to have this disjointed interaction with your customer. So the impact of this is quite significant. Right, so you can see on there, we've got data gaps lead to a poor customer experience. That's very true. It's also bad for the business in various ways as well. So if we look through at the 3 points on the slide here, the first one being inaccurate data. So of course, if you call the bank and you ask them for a balance and they tell you the wrong number, that's obviously really, really bad experience from that business. But it's also bad to have inaccurate data as a business if you're trying to adopt new AI technologies. Okay, so if you're thinking of connecting in some sort of chatbot technology or trending and analytics AI technology to look at the data and come up with recommendations or help you to surface that data in different ways, if the data underneath that you have is inaccurate, then you're starting off from a bad point. The return on investment of those AI platforms isn't going to be as good as it could be. The other thing is data bottlenecks. So trying to pull in data from all these various different sources and connect them is going to take time for that data to ingest. And as a consumer, some things I don't really mind taking a little bit longer. So, on the airline analogy, I don't mind waiting for my loyalty points for a few hours, maybe even a day or two. But I really, really want them to have the data of what ticket I've booked. That's what's really important to me. So some things it makes sense to be able to wait for, and other things need to be much more real time. So having these data bottlenecks and things take a long time to get through, if that's important data, that's going to lead to a lot of frustration from the customer as well. And of course, as a business, you want to have a complete picture of your customer to be able to understand what the best way is that you can serve them next, how you can maintain that relationship with them, how you can potentially do more business with them. So knowing things like, I don't know, clickstream data from the website, how the things that they've been interested in, having all of this data is really important and useful. So pulling it together is essential. But when you're looking to solve a challenge like this, just like any challenge that we have to try and look at with technology, we have to make a decision, firstly. So do you build something or do you buy something? Okay. And of course, there's pros and cons to both approaches. And the right choice really depends on balancing these two important factors, standardization and differentiation. So what can you standardize on? Things that you can buy that are proven technology that you know are going to be fast time to value, you can set up very, very quickly and integrate it into other things. And then other areas you might want to differentiate. So you want to build something that's really, really tailored to your needs, get a lot of control and flexibility over what you build, creating those kind of unique personalized experiences for your customers as well. And of course, that becomes intellectual property as well, that there's potentially a business asset to reuse. So there's a few considerations to how you decide to do this, and it will make sense to consider this for every single project, to be honest. Things like speed to market. So if you need to get something out there really, really fast, then buying something off the shelf would make a lot of sense. If you have a little bit of time, how much time do you have to build this solution? Do you have the skills and the time to do it? So as we'll talk about in a minute, Heroku makes building things much easier, but there is still a time to build that platform. Scalability, on the other hand, so maybe you take an off-the-shelf solution for something, and you customize it a lot. How does that scale? What's going to be the impact of upgrading that and scaling it? So lots of different considerations to make as well. So control, let's say you're a big brand like Coca-Cola, right? You're going to have a very specific idea of how that service looks like, especially if it's customer facing from a UI UX perspective. Or maybe you are a fintech startup and you're designing a banking app. Your app has to look different from the other fintechs because that's your differentiation. That's where your customers see you. Pricing, of course, there's a sliding scale. Things are licensed very, very differently on one side or the other. So on the build side, you're buying a platform to run on and whatever it takes to actually build that. The buy solution is often licensed very differently. So this might be licensed on how many people are logged in, how many users are there. And of course, features. So if you can get all the features that you need from the off the shelf, that makes sense. But there might be features that you want to build specifically on a platform too. So this build versus buy eventually ends up being a build and buy, because of course, businesses really need to do both, as you can imagine. So standardize on common functions, standard processes like, let's say, finance, procurement, HR, areas where differentiation won't necessarily provide additional value, right? So we don't need to rebuild Gmail. It's already there. It's ready to go. Standardize on those types of things. And then differentiate in the more strategic areas, right? So build software in areas that are really core to your business strategy and provide you some sort of competitive advantage, right? Perhaps you're in, a new and fast-growing industry where there are a number of different paths that you might take, and your approach maybe doesn't even have a standardized option yet as well. So at Salesforce, it's great because we're really able to handle both. So we have off-the-shelf SaaS solutions that are very famous, very well established for immediate functionality, strong return on investment. And then we can come in with Heroku too as a build platform to customize and extend that solution as needed, giving you really the best of both worlds. Okay, so what is Heroku? Heroku is really a platform for building apps, as I've mentioned. It's also really, really perfect for this preparing and connecting data use case as well. So it's Salesforce's elastic compute and data platform. It's there to develop, deploy, and scale apps with you, and apps that are connected with your data, which is the really important piece. Okay, so we have something called Heroku Connect, and this will connect your data to Salesforce so that it's bidirectionally synced. So when you update one, it updates the other and vice versa. And that's great because then you can take all of this wonderful Salesforce data that you have and build custom experiences on top of that using that data in real time. Okay. It abstracts away a lot of the complexity of building applications. So things like spinning up IaaS, infrastructure, making sure that everything is all configured to run well. This is all taken care of by the platform. There's a lot of automation under the hood there. And so we see that this helps increase developer productivity, takes away a little bit of the emphasis on the OpEx as well. So this is showing the change of approach on this side. So if you're familiar with IaaS platforms like the popular hyperscalers, this is how we see the build process kind of look operationally. Right? So on the left, when building modern applications, microservices, portals, these types of things, we see a huge amount of time and effort spent on the infrastructure space. So your compute, network, storage, Kubernetes, containers, whatever kind of infrastructure it is that you need to build and be there. And this takes a lot of time and a lot of effort. And of course, on the DevOps piece as well, logging, monitoring, pipelines, all of these things have to be built and set up, and all of the tooling around it. But actually, the least amount of time tends to be spent on the application itself, which is where the value is, where the business value is. So with Heroku, what we try to do, or what we focus on doing, is flipping that on its head so that actually we take care of the infrastructure and the DevOps piece so that you can focus your resources on the application itself, getting new features out there, and building that app as quickly and efficiently as possible. We've got a number of studies that back up some of the benefits of Heroku, and you can see the QR code on here that takes you to the Forrester study. They've done a lot of research on Heroku, interviewed a lot of customers to understand the value that they get from building applications on Heroku, on a PaaS like Heroku, instead of an IaaS platform or in the data center. So this is specific to Heroku, and they see 40% increase in developer productivity because we're getting rid of the infrastructure and DevOps challenges, 30% reduction in operational overhead. So there's less kind of time waiting between teams. The functionality is pushed up into the app space much more. And we also have numbers that really report Heroku attributable revenue for our customers as well. So businesses that have been building on Heroku have achieved this additional revenue because maybe they were able to get into a new market faster, or get ahead of their competitors quickly, or maybe it's just getting a new feature out quickly. So we have the stats to back that up. I would encourage you to have a look and see where you might be able to get value as well. We have customers in all industries, all sizes, everything from startups to global businesses and everything in between. You will almost certainly have used an app running on Heroku without knowing it. Any Salesforce fans out there will know Trailhead, and Trailhead actually runs on Heroku as well. So this can really work in any area. We have many studies on these different customers on Heroku.com, which goes into a little bit more detail as well. So what can you build? Well, it really goes back to the fact that you can build pretty much anything. It's a platform for writing code, and you can build pretty much anything. But what we see our customers doing for the most part is building things like customer portals, websites, loyalty apps, from everything from that kind of side to secure healthcare or banking applications. We also see too. On the Salesforce investment side, there's a lot that we can do with Heroku and Salesforce together. So whether that's building custom Hyperforce AI agents on Heroku, bespoke Slack bots potentially. We also see a lot of offloading of complex processing into Heroku. So if you're doing a lot of kind of Apex code, or there's a lot of processing that's happening in Salesforce, sometimes it makes sense to offload that into Heroku as well as part of this kind of data use case. So now that we know a little bit about Heroku, everybody should have a fairly standard understanding. Let's get back to the specific issue of data. So we know the problem, disconnected and siloed data. We know the impact really that it's going to have on a business. And we know that you'll need to build in your own processes, data sources, secret source to achieve this. And we know that there's a platform ready to go. So from now, I'm going to hand over to Barry, who's at our partner Showoff, who's going to take us through some of Showoff's capabilities and some of the different businesses that they've helped with this disconnected data challenge. Over to you, Barry.
Thanks, Tobias. So Showoff, who are Showoff? So firstly, we're a Salesforce and Heroku partner. I'm just going to give you a quick overview of us and then give a number of examples where we've leveraged Heroku to bring value to our customers. So Showoff was founded in 2012. You'll see the logo of a sheep on the bottom right-hand corner of that graphic there. Suppose the origin story of Show Off. It was founded by the sale of 80 sheep by Shane, our CEO, who is a farmer based in Ireland. And that seed capital was used to purchase some MacBooks. And from there, we've moved on from, I suppose, working with startups to enterprises and global enterprises. So we use our unique data know-how to create platforms, to create customer experiences, and then we're focused on helping our clients create new and exciting opportunities to engage customers and stakeholders to generate ROI. We're not yes people. We'll work with you to create specific solutions that target real problems and opportunities your business is facing. And whether that's legacy migrations or custom build projects, we'll turn your data into something valuable so you can deliver great experiences to your customers. So what are we seeing in the industry from our customers? We've been using Heroku for years, but industry in general, we're seeing some common themes. Whether it's being overwhelmed by data, lack of understanding of your data, not being able to access it, and then not being able to generate the insights from your data. We're seeing it as a common theme, and that's something we're looking to address by using platforms such as Heroku. So how do we do that? We've got a pretty simple approach, and this is how it works. Firstly, we'll consolidate your data, connecting everything together so you've got a single source of truth. Then we'll work with you to build a solution that puts your data to work and targets the specific challenges you want to address. With the data insights you've gained, you can bring certainty to your customer engagement and then guide your future strategy with measurable results. Now I'm going to talk through a couple of customers where we've done this. So National Express, they're the UK's leading bus operator. They serve over 16 million commuters annually, and that generates vast amounts of data. However, their data wasn't being leveraged to support, sell, or to retain their customers effectively. The problem? National Express's data infrastructure was siloed. Different parts of the business stored customer information in separate systems, depending on which department, was it sales, marketing, or service, interacted with the customer. Sales couldn't see if service had addressed an issue, marketing had no visibility into sales outreach, and the service teams didn't know what communications customers had received. In short, every team was operating in the dark. These disconnected systems created broader business issues: poor customer targeting, missed retention and sales opportunities, subpar service, and ultimately lost revenue. National Express recognized that it needed a unified system to centralize this customer data, giving sales, marketing, and service a complete real-time view of their customer interaction. Their objective: to improve targeting, enhance retention, and prevent revenue loss. And that's why they turned to Show Off for help. So what did they want? Ultimately, they wanted to get that enhanced retention and improved targeting. And the internal teams wanted to get a view of every customer interaction. So what do we do in Show Off? We worked with National Express to overhaul its fragmented data infrastructure and create a unified modern system. The first step was migrating all customer records from legacy systems into a single Heroku Postgres database. And we reduced duplicate entries from over 30 million to 7.8 million. This centralized database became the golden record, housing all essential customer data in one place. Next, we integrated National Express's marketing and sales cloud tools, ensuring that every customer interaction, whether through sales, marketing, or service, was automatically logged into the unified system. Now, all the departments have access to real-time customer data, enabling a 360-degree view of each customer. By creating this unified platform on Heroku, National Express dramatically improved internal processes. Processes which previously took up to 8 hours to reconcile now take just 1 hour, and sales and marketing teams can now collaborate more effectively, leading to better customer targeting, increased retention, and higher sales. With that unified customer view across all channels, National Express now operates with enhanced efficiency, teams have instant access to data, giving them a clear and consistent understanding of customer interactions, preferences, and needs. 360-degree view has transformed how the company supports, sells, and retains its customers, driving both improved customer satisfaction and significant business growth. By harnessing the power of a unified data platform, National Express has turned its once siloed infrastructure into a key driver of retention and revenue, ensuring that no customer is left in the dark. Here's another customer we have in the UK, QuickFit. So QuickFit is the UK's leading fast fit supplier of tires. Vehicle ownership among younger drivers in the UK was declining, and the demand for subscription services were rising. So QuickFit had to act fast or risk losing a valuable captive audience. But their existing infrastructure, a tangled web of disparate SaaS systems, legacy tech, and siloed data pipelines, made swift development nearly impossible. To build a scalable platform capable of handling high-volume, personalized interactions, unique subscriptions, and recurring revenue, QuickFit needed a real-time data accessibility. Seamless experience was crucial, not just for operations, but also for delivering a new way for customers to engage with the brand. That's when QuickFit enlisted the show off to build a foundation for its subscription-based service model, QuickFit Club. So the business goals for QuickFit. They wanted to transition to a monthly subscription-based pricing model for tires. They wanted to create a scalable platform to handle high volume of personalized interactions. And they wanted to deliver a seamless experience for their customers to engage with their brand. So what do we do with Show Off? The solution we provided. Show Off leveraged Heroku, MuleSoft, Salesforce, and Stripe, and we helped QuickFit bring this vision of a subscription model to life. In just 12 months, the team transformed the QuickFit Club from proof of concept to a full-scale consumer launch. And that service earned a QuickFit the 2021 National Tire Distributors Product Innovation of the Year Award. Much like Netflix and Spotify, QuickFit Club offers customers a subscription model. For a monthly fee, users can cover tire replacements, repairs, MOTs, and more. The model alleviates the unpredictable cost of vehicle maintenance, and it's an attractive proposition for younger, cost-conscious drivers. So we utilize Stripe's billing and payments to quickly set up a system for collecting personalized monthly payments. Then we integrated QuickFit's existing Salesforce CRM, the platform's consolidated data to bring both new and existing into a single, easily accessible location. MuleSoft also played a key role behind the scenes. We aggregated data such as vehicle make, model, wear rates, and tires, and we generated tailored subscriptions. Once activated, MuleSoft facilitated service, consolidated bookings, inventory needs, and then reconciled the costs and invoices. So the end result, built on Heroku, QuickFit Club platform is fast, it's intuitive, and it's perfectly suited for younger audiences that value speed and convenience. With its cutting-edge technology stack and frictionless user experience, QuickFit has the only modernized vehicle maintenance service. It's also redefined how its brand connects with its new generation of drivers. And finally, I'm going to walk you through one of our customers we have in the US. So the local My 150. Challenge was they had evolving expectations of union members, labor union members. It was no easy task, even with the latest technology. So for the guys in MOETS, Midwest Operating IT Engineer Services, they had an outdated member management system that was becoming a serious pain point. MOETS serves as the technology backbone for the local My 150, the Midwest-based chapter of the International Union of Operating Engineers. There's quite a tongue twister. But they had a decade-old platform, and it lacked flexibilities to accommodate their new functionalities and meet the ever-changing needs of members. With union leaders accustomed to traditional paper-based systems, MOETS faced the dual charge of overcoming skepticism towards new technology, while also addressing diverse member needs. So what did they need? They needed to create a new, innovative member management platform, streamline their operations, and enhance security to build trust in their technology. So what did we do? Firstly, Show Off began with a discovery phase. We dive deep into MOETS operations to fully understand the unique needs and challenges of their local 150s members and their leadership. We used these insights to develop a custom platform on Heroku, which we selected for its scalability and flexibility. The system was integrated with Salesforce Service Cloud to centralize their members' interactions and streamline case management, enabling faster and more personalized service. The modern architecture now allows MOETS to quickly develop and deploy new feature based on member feedback. But given the sensitivity of union and member data, Show also prioritized top-tier security. We implemented state-of-the-art protocols such as 2FA authentication. We encrypted data transmission, ensured compliance with data protection regulations like GDPR and CCPA. And this instilled confidence amongst union members that their information was safe and secure. But the technical improvements would have been meaningless if the platform wasn't user-friendly, particularly for members that were used to paper-based processes. Our final focus was on user-centric design. So creating an intuitive interface for both union and staff members This ensured high adoption rates, enable users to easily access services all in one place. Now the platform is streamlined across all the operations in Mowat, from dispatch to health insurance to claim processing, and it's given them increased efficiency and improved services for all its union members, who now enjoy a more stable, feature-rich platform that simplifies communication and meets their needs more effectively. Thanks to the platform's adaptability, Mowat is able to continually roll out new features, which we work with them to in response to their members' requests, and that gives greater engagement and user satisfaction. Data management is now more agile, with sensitive information more securely stored, but readily accessible when needed. And the platform strikes the perfect balance between robust security and usability. Initial skepticism towards technology has been replaced with an appreciation for its potential to serve members better, paving the way for future digital initiatives. With its new infrastructure, Mowat is now experiencing offerings and managing an increased member base and ensuring the organization stays to the forefront of union technology for years to come. To find out more about Show Off, we've developed a playbook. We're going to share this at the end of the call. It's going to have more information about the concept of a data foundation and why to build on Heroku, and we'll share those details out after the call. To contact either myself or Tobias, you'll find our email addresses here, or else you can find us on LinkedIn. I'm happy to have conversations around where we've used Heroku or where we could potentially use it again. So feel free to contact us. And I am going to pass back to Lauren now.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Barry. So we have talked about a situation that many of you face on a frequent basis. Understanding, do you buy and configure an off-the-shelf solution, or do you buy and integrate it with your current existing technology stack? And most of you have Salesforce and you do not have Heroku. There's also some of you that have Heroku and want to better understand how you can optimize on the platform. And we hope you learned today about the value of using Heroku to be able to differentiate your business. There's three main reasons why you would want to build a data-driven customer application. So many of you face data challenges, and having Heroku to be able to unify all of your data and how seamlessly it syncs with all other Salesforce products, like we had talked about, Slack and MuleSoft and all other Salesforce clouds, will really help you to optimize your current Salesforce investment. And while that would have a big impact on you, your business, and your employees, Heroku will also have a dramatic impact on your relationships with your customers, being able to provide really personalized and real-time customer engagements. And also, you're probably constantly thinking about, how can I invest in technology that will prepare me for the future? And Heroku will help you do that with the wide variety of different options that you can invest in that will prepare you for your company's next steps. And thank you all for joining us today. We are now going to be opening it up to the Q&A. And if you haven't already done so, please feel free to put your questions in the chat or in the Q&A button, and we will go through them individually. And the first question is, will we be able to receive a copy of this presentation? And the answer is yes. In the follow-up email, we'll include a copy of this presentation. And the next question that we have is, what skills do you need to build a solution like this? So I'd like to pass that to Tobias, if you don't mind answering that.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Lauren. So what skills do you need? I guess the first thing to consider is that you will need somebody with development skills. So if you're going to be building an app or a microservice that's manipulating data in a database, you'll need to write a bit of code. So thankfully, there are something like I think there are almost 1 million developers in the UK last time I looked. I think it was 800,000 or something like that. So these people are there ready to go. But obviously partners like Show Off have these skills ready to go. They have skills in Salesforce, in Heroku, and in the development space of being able to build these types of services as well. So yeah, Heroku is a platform for code, and we see that that's one of the main strengths, actually.
Great. Thanks, Tobias. And the next question is, isn't this Heroku use case what Data Cloud offers? And Tobias knows all about that because he just presented at Dreamforce about the difference between the two and the reason why you need both. So Tobias, I'd like to, and Tobias and Barry both presented about this. So, but I'll pass this to Tobias.
Yeah, sure. It's a really good question, actually. And so often the answer is that one or both make sense. So from a Heroku perspective, our focus is very, very much on the compute and the manipulation of data and how we can create something custom and build something that you need. So that's going to be a very tailored approach, exactly what you need to pull in these data sources, change that data however needed, and then put it into Data Cloud once it's kind of cleansed and ready, perhaps. Lots of different ways to do this, but absolutely the story of Data Cloud for being that system of reference, to be able to reference all of these various different data sources is such a great use case for things like marketing and being able to do like next best action for your customer, knowing as much about them as possible. But when you're trying to, let's say, transact against that data, or if that data takes a little bit of time to ingest and to harmonize, or if you need to process that data in various ways, as we've kind of talked through here, that's really where Heroku is going to come in to do that manipulation of the data, building experiences on top of that data as well. So in the Data Cloud space, one of the comparisons that we've made before is, Snowflake have Snowpark. Data Cloud has Heroku, something analogous to that as well. But it's a great question. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Tobias. So we have another question from Terry. How suitable is Heroku for headless batch service applications integrating external data with Salesforce?
So I think that's a kind of a fairly complex question, and there's probably an architect who would love to draw up a solution for you on that. But absolutely, these types of things, this is where Heroku is perfect, because what you have is you have essentially this continual connection into Salesforce. So Salesforce being a product where data is living, but also being able to use that data in a regular Postgres database. So manipulate that data in any way, build applications on top of that data in any way, whether you're doing batch data and taking data and putting it into that Postgres database so that then it can be synced with Salesforce. That's just as valid as taking the data out and using the data that way. So yeah, for that kind of solution, I would say it should be perfect.
And I think for next steps, Terry, if you want to learn more, perhaps reach out to Tobias and he would be able to connect you with one of the Heroku technical architects to be able to go into more depth.
Absolutely.
And then the next question that we received is about what application content management tools are available on Heroku in no code, low code for configuring data-driven business rules instead of custom code, and at the same time creating user experience?
It's a good question. And so being part of Salesforce has many low code, no code tools and solutions. Heroku is very much a pro code solution. So the prerequisite is to be able to write code to manipulate that data or to build those experiences in a way that you like. We have lots of partners in our Elements marketplace that might be relevant for this type of question. So content management systems that we have in that Elements marketplace, which can be deployed as part of your Heroku project. Also compatible with various other technologies. We've been chatting with Builder.io recently, so they have a low-code tool for drag and drop capability to build an experience and then run that on Heroku. So lots of different possibilities, and we don't restrict that at all. Worth having a look in the marketplace for the components that you need to build what you need.
Great, thanks, Tobias. So another question that we just received is, if considering Vercel versus Heroku, for a headless setup in front of predominantly Salesforce APIs, what advantages does Heroku offer?
It's a great question, and I think the answer really is Heroku Connect. So comparing Vercel and Heroku for building applications is one thing, and we could get into very detailed bits and bytes of one does this and one does this. But I think the value really is in that Heroku Connect, that connection into Salesforce. So if you were to use any other solution to connect into Salesforce, there's a few different things to bear in mind. Firstly, you run out of API calls at some point, and that's a hard stop. So if you've maybe not got enough API calls on your Salesforce platform, that will stop the platform, that will stop your application from working until you go and purchase those API calls, not for how much cost they are, but just that process that takes a little bit of time. So Heroku bypasses all of this kind of thing. So it's a productized solution with a roadmap, product managers that look at this connection into Salesforce and make it as secure and as stable as possible. The other thing to bear in mind is if you've got Salesforce and you've got Heroku and the connection between it, then if anything, any of the data is potentially lost, let's say, that's Salesforce's fault, I suppose, and Salesforce's responsibility. If you potentially lose data connecting in somewhere else, then it's left Salesforce, it's left Vercel. So it's, who has the responsibility of potentially that data lost and how secure is that platform? So I'd encourage you to take a little bit more of a look at Heroku Connect, reach out. We're happy to take you through it in more detail as well.
Just to add to that from Tobias, I think it's that closeness to Salesforce. So for Sale, absolutely nothing wrong with it as a platform, and absolutely nothing wrong with Heroku as a platform. But we kind of find when the use case is very near Salesforce or building on top of or beside Salesforce, it's that closeness, that Heroku Connect, which Tobias mentioned. We use that an awful lot in terms of any of our projects and customers.
Perfect. Thank you both. So the next question that we received is, do Heroku and eventually the possible add-ons manage the GDPR compliance?
So it will be different for every add-on. So our add-ons, I mean, some of them are Heroku's, like the Postgres database and things like that. But for the most part, the add-ons and the plugins in the marketplace are run by those individual companies. So they are part of the platform and can be deployed, but it will depend. On the Heroku platform itself, there are a number of different levels of compliance certification. So ISO 27000. We also go up to things like PCI and HIPAA compliance. So from a GDPR perspective, it would be covered, but we would want to make sure that your architecture and the choice of components would be the right one for that as well. So again, that's something we're happy to talk with you about to make sure you're covered.
Just on that one as well, it's, as I said, it's that platform, the deviation between the platform and the actual data that goes on top of it. So it's definitely worth a conversation with the CISO in your organization in terms of what data are you looking to put on top of it into the database. Whereas the infrastructure, it'll be compliant, but how are you looking to use it? What's the data? It's also lots of conversations we have with our customers.
Definitely.
Perfect. So we don't have any other questions, but I will put as a reminder, if you do have any additional questions, please feel free to reach out to Tobias or Barry. In the follow-up email, we're also going to be sharing their contact information, so you can reach out to them there. But thank you, Tobias and Barry, for joining us today. Thank you all for joining the webinar. And we hope that you've learned more about the power of Heroku to make an impact on your business. So we hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, guys.